This week marks the 5th anniversary since I first decided to give Amazon FBA a proper go. And since I made this post in an Amazon FBA group telling everyone to watch out for when I made it big. Now, since then, I've gone on to build a 7-figure Amazon FBA business that I run in my spare time. And whilst that is very quick for me to say, it hasn't been easy, and to reach this point has required me to put in hundreds of hours of hard work, dedication and commitment. There have been a lot of highs and there have absolutely been a lot of lows, and some of them have even made me question whether it's really worth sticking with. Now, in order to give you guys the full picture of what the Amazon selling experience is really like so that you know what you're letting yourself in for, I want to run through the key lessons that I've learned over the past 5 years that other Amazon FBA gurus seem to hide, despite the fact that, in my view, they're incredibly important things to be aware of if you're new to the game and you're considering running an Amazon FBA business as a side hustle or as your full-time business. One of the most appealing things about having an Amazon FBA business as your side hustle is that much of the legwork involved with selling a product online, that's actually done by Amazon themselves. If you're not familiar with how Fulfillment by Amazon works, in summary, it's where you send products that you want to sell on Amazon to one of their many warehouses. It becomes available for sale on the Amazon website, and then when a customer makes a purchase, Amazon charges them, then picks, packs and posts your product directly to the customer for you. To a complete beginner that's just starting to learn about Amazon FBA, my description there might make it sound like a pretty straightforward and easy business to get going. But one of the biggest challenges that everybody faces is finding a product that they can profitably sell. Amazon's website is so big and saturated with sellers that pretty much every single product that you can think of is already available for sale. But that's not a bigger problem as you might think, because to achieve success with Amazon FBA, your goal is to find an existing product niche that has lots of demand already, but where the quality of the offer is low or can be further improved by you. And that part of the process, that can be a really time-consuming challenge that a lot of beginners may not want to commit to. After 5 years of doing product research myself and helping hundreds of others to select and then source a product, I would say that on average, it's going to take at least 5 weeks to learn the process of product research, understand what makes a good selling opportunity, and then settle on a product to sell. Despite what many gurus may claim, finding and then settling on an Amazon FBA product, it's not an overnight process, and it takes a lot of persistence and dedication. But with that said, there are ways to make searching for an Amazon product a bit more bearable. My biggest piece of advice is to break up your daily product research sessions into 20 to 30-minute chunks and try to rotate between as many different product discovery methods as you can each time you start a research session. Spending hours and hours searching for a product, it just ends up being counterproductive because you'll end up feeling overwhelmed, bored, and to be honest, on the brink of giving up. Spending 20 to 30 minutes a day or having one session in the morning and then one session later on in the afternoon, that keeps things fresh and increases the likelihood of you seeing new product ideas each time you log on. It's a strategy that's worked well for those that I've coached, and it even worked well for me. I found my first product in just under 6 weeks, and I actually put that down to the fact that I was able to stay consistent and motivated when doing my product research. Once you do find a product to sell and you go through the subsequent steps until you start selling, your confidence in Amazon FBA and the entire process will increase, which will ultimately make product research for future products much easier than before, because you'll doubt yourself less and you'll trust your first instincts on anything that you come across. And that brings me onto my second learning point from the past 5 years, which is you will never be 100% confident. No matter how many hours you spend searching for your Amazon FBA product or how hard you negotiate with the supplier to reduce your costs, one thing is for certain: you will never be 100% confident. There is always going to be an element of doubt and uncertainty. And do you know what? That's absolutely fine. Having scaled my Amazon FBA business to 7 figures, gained over 5 years of experience, and launched over 25 products, I still have doubts and concerns about every single product that I plan to launch on Amazon. Self-doubt just never goes away. And when it comes to business, no risk can be fully mitigated. So if you're new to Amazon FBA or you're thinking about getting started, the sooner that you can get that into your head and accept that there is always going to be some level of risk involved, the less likely you'll face huge delays in getting started because of you over-analyzing every product opportunity that you come across and turning anything you find down because of some really minor reason. The amount of confidence and skills that you'll gain from just a few short months of selling on Amazon, that is infinitely more than you're going to gain from just staying stuck in the product research stage because of the fact that you're looking for a perfect product that has no risk attached to it. That's just never going to happen. And if you can't train your mind to accept some level of risk, you're just not going to get to the most valuable part of the whole experience, which is actually selling. To me, learning how to sell on Amazon is a bit like learning how to drive a car. You can read plenty about the rules of the road and how to drive from the comfort of your own home, but the real experience, where you encounter the things that a textbook just can't teach and where you gain the biggest increase in confidence, that comes from actual practice and getting out on the road. And it's the exact same with Amazon FBA. A course, a mentor, and doing infinite amounts of product research, they all have limitations on where they can get you and your confidence. But putting yourself out of your comfort zone and gaining experience as an Amazon seller, that is going to teach you things that no course or mentor can. And it's going to increase your confidence in the process tenfold, which will make you realize that it's okay not to be 100% certain on a product, as long as you've done the right amount of diligence on the whole and the positives outweigh the negatives. For every single product that I've ever launched on Amazon, I have never gone into the launch and been 100% confident that it's going to be a success. But what I have been 100% confident in is the value from the experience of launching each product and the lessons that I learn from it if things don't go to plan, both of which will help to increase my confidence the next time around when I ensure that I don't make the same mistakes. So if you've been stuck in that product research phase for months on end, keep in mind that your confidence is never going to be 100%. And whilst it would be great to have a successful product straight off the bat, in reality, it's far better to focus on gaining active selling experience, which ultimately is going to provide way more value than the profit that you'd end up getting from any successful product's initial order. Over the last 5 years, I've seen thousands of Amazon product launches. Some have been a success and some have been massive flops. And when I've analysed any launch that has been one of those flops, it usually boils down to one key reason: poor execution. You could have the best product idea in the world, but if it doesn't have demand from Amazon customers, it's not going to be a success. Or you could have a product that does have tons of demand, but if the supplier uses cheap materials and it gets awful reviews, it won't be a success either. Or you could have the best product and the best supplier ever, but if the product's listing sucks and it doesn't convey your product's benefits and compel the customer to buy, well, guess what? It's not going to be a success. You guys get my point. Execution is everything in this game. And if you cut a corner or skip a step, the chances of failure are going to be heightened dramatically. And this is something that I've seen so many times over the past 5 years and even fallen victim to myself. My very first product was quite a big success straight off the bat. It generated £30,000 in revenues in its third month with a 20% profit margin. But I got greedy, and at my request, the supplier started to use cheaper materials so that my costs could be brought down. And because of that, complaints increased, the review score went down, and the product ultimately failed. And that was all because of my poor execution. Do not underestimate the importance of each and every step when you're going through the process of finding and then launching a product to sell on Amazon. And no matter how enticing it might be to go with the cheapest supplier available, or to do your listing images yourself when you have no prior experience, always go with the best that you can afford and look to execute every single step of the process as flawlessly as you can. Otherwise, you're just needlessly increasing your chances of failure. The main attraction of selling products via Amazon FBA is that much of the legwork is actually done for you. There's no need for you to market to cold customers or to go to the post office to post any product that you want to sell. And you don't have to store any units at your house either. And because of all of those reasons, Amazon is often described by many gurus as a passive source of income. But that's not really true. As somebody that still has a pretty time-consuming job whilst doing Amazon FBA on the side, what I can say is that the amount of time that's needed to actually run this business after you've launched a product, that can be kept pretty minimal, to the point where it could be described by some as more or less passive, especially if you're happy to use some of your profits to outsource key tasks to others, such as advertising, just like I have. Because I make use of outsourcing, I actively spend around 2 hours a week on my Amazon business, with the majority of the tasks that I actually need to do able to be done on my phone, either on my commute or later on in the evening. And that sounds pretty passive, right? Well, not quite, because even though I spend a minimal amount of time physically working on my Amazon business, I think about Amazon a lot, and I mean a lot. Without a doubt, I say that I've thought about my Amazon business every single day since I started in 2018. And sometimes that's not a great thing. As an entrepreneur, my mind is always on the go, thinking of opportunities or things that can be done better in order to grow my business even more. And that can actually be pretty exhausting at times. In fact, my Amazon business can take up such a big share of my thoughts throughout the entire day that it can dictate my mood and how I end up speaking to others. Bad sales days can set me off on a period of depression, and good sales days, which could actually be the very next day, can get me singing through the streets. And that's an effect that you may not be prepared to deal with. And it's an effect that I would say removes the Amazon FBA business model as one that you could describe as being passive and something that you could easily forget about. Controlling how frequently I think about my Amazon business and how often I let it impact my emotions, that's a very difficult task. And so when an inevitable badly performing day or week comes along, it's always a real challenge to put anything related to Amazon to the back of my mind in order to forget it. This is something that you just don't hear other gurus talking about, even though it's a really important point to make others aware of, because while selling on Amazon might not eventually take up much of your physical time, it can actually take up far more time than any other job can from a mental perspective. And you may not be equipped to deal with that if you're someone that suffers from anxiety or you're a bit of a worrier in general. After experiencing some real gut-wrenching lows over the past few years, such as being attacked by competitors with 1-star reviews, to nearly being sued for patent infringement, the one thing that has gotten me through all of the tough times, of which there have been many, is having a very supportive group of people that are close to me and a solid Amazon FBA network, both of which are incredibly important. Whilst I obviously don't regret a single moment of my experience over the past few years, I will say that there have been times that have been incredibly challenging, where I've considered throwing it all in And I've got my wife and my close-knit Amazon FBA community to thank for the fact that I actually decided to continue going. A big piece of advice that I always give those that are new to joining my mentor program is to network with others who are on the same journey as much as possible. And that's so you can share experiences, keep each other motivated, and hopefully reduce some of that mental strain that selling on Amazon can put on you. So after 5 years of selling and hundreds of thousands of my products being dispatched by Amazon, has it all been worth it? Well, my answer is yes, absolutely. I don't regret a single minute, but it hasn't been an easy ride, despite what the gurus may say. And at times, the challenges have really taken their toll. When those challenges do arise for you guys, which they will, my one key learning since I started all of this is to keep your chin up and keep going until things get smoother, which they will do. I hope that my experiences to date help you guys to decide whether you want to go ahead with what is an exciting journey, but also a big roller coaster of emotions. If you have any questions about Amazon FBA or how to get involved, let me know in the comments. Please remember to like and subscribe for more Amazon FBA related content, and I'll see you guys next time.